Jill sent a message yesterday about not renaming your courses inside of Schoology. Um, the way that we have our grade setup and syncing set, we're just concerned that that might cause an issue. Um, and so, right now, if you want to do something to help identify your different courses, I know sometimes that can be hard with the naming conventions that were set in Power School. So, you can do that by customizing the course cards in Schoology. If you go to courses, these are called course tiles, but the small image in the top half of it, that's the course card. And you can see all of these other ones. Some of them are customized, a number of them are not. Especially if you have a number of sections that are similar, but might just be in different quarters or different semesters, it can sometimes be hard to tell those apart for you as a teacher. And it just makes it a little bit easier for both teachers and students when they come into the course listing here to quickly identify your class, and it's easier for you as a teacher to identify your classes. So if you go into a course, if I went into my freshman advisory course here, in the upper left hand corner, this is called the course card, this little image that sits up here. And then again, when you're in courses, it makes up a portion of the course tile here. So to customize that, we'll come back in here, but I'm going to show you one way in Google Slides to make a custom course card. You could do it just by going out and finding an image, or if you have an image you like on your computer, you could open that up in preview and use the annotation tool to type text on top of it. That's probably the quickest way. But I wanted to show you a way that I thought with Google Slides that most people would at least have some understanding how to do. So I'm in Google Slides and I'm just going to open a blank presentation. Unfortunately, they're not just blank. They have a little bit of formatted text on here. So I'm just going to highlight those. And then you have to click on the edge of them before you can push delete and get rid of it. So I'm clicking it to highlight it, and then clicking the edge, and then I push delete. Now I have a blank canvas to create my course card on. I really don't want it to be just white. If you do, and then you could really do this on almost anything where you can type text. But there are some default templates over here that you can use in Google Slides if that's what you want for the background. You could just come up here in the formatting toolbar and click background and then choose a color. If you just want it to be green or something like that. You can also choose an image from there, but it's not the same way that I'm going to show you to select images for the background. I'm going to go over here to insert and click, and then go to image at the top and click stock and web. You'll get some stock images up here, but I would go down to where it says Google Images and click, and then search. I'm going to just search for a green background. Now if I was just going to use something like this, I would just choose it with the background color here. But I want something that's a little bit more dynamic, and there'll be a lot of choices. Just look for something that you think you might use. I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to click on it and drag it over here. I think you can just double click on it and it'll pop in here as well. But it slides that image out. You'll notice that image doesn't take up the entire space of the slide. So I'm going to grab the edges of it and stretch it out so that it covers out to the edges of the slide. There we go. Now we have a background. Now some of these images, you may take an image, and when you slide it out there, it might be small. And depending on how small it is, when you go to stretch it out, it may distort it a lot. And so just pick an image that fills the better portion of the background when it's inserted. Then it won't be distorted a lot. This one is fine. I don't notice real distortion in it when I use it. So I'm going to go with that. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to put some text in, and this is the text I'll use so that I label my course and make that more easily identifiable. So I go up here to the formatting toolbar, and I click on this icon with the T's on it for a text box, and then I'm just going to come down here and slide out a space that I can type in, or stretch out a space. And this was my advisory. So I have some text in there. The contrast is not real good, so I'm going to highlight the text. And I'm looking up here in the formatting toolbar for where I can change the text color, and I don't see it. This is for the background of that entire space. So if I don't see it, go to the right end and click on the three dots, the snowman icon, and then in here, here's the text color. So remember, you have to have the text highlighted, but I'm going to change it. And then I want it to take up more of the space so that it's more legible to people. So I'm going to change the font size, and I'm going to guess this. Now, in this, I'm going to put a little image that relates to my course. So I'm going to leave a little space on the left-hand side to do that. The other thing you might want to do, especially if you're like doing sections, you might want to label it with the year, or my advisory, I have it all year, so I wouldn't do this. But like, let's say I was teaching chemistry. I might want to put in semester 1 on here. I'm going to tighten up this text box a little bit. The reason I do that is then to slide this around on the slide, as long as it's highlighted, I could use my arrows and just click and move it, but it doesn't move it very quickly. If you grab the edge of the box, then you can just slide it around, and you'll notice there are some red lines popping up here. Those help you center objects on the slide, and so I want to center this text, but I'm leaving it more towards the right side so that I can put a little image over here on the left. The other thing that I want to do is I want to make this font a little easier to see. So I'm going up here to the font chooser, and there are a lot of different fonts that you'll see in here, and if that's not enough for you, you can click on more fonts, and there are thousands of them. I'm just going to pick one that as I'm looking down through here, I can see some that stand out more, and then it's just really kind of up to your own personal preference. That one seems good to me. It's nice and thick, more visible. I might decide again that I want this font to take up a little bit. I want to get it as large as I can, so it's as visible as possible, and still leave room for the small image that I put over on the left-hand side. So here we go. It's centered. I'm not too concerned about left and right, how much space I'm leaving on the edges. The way that Schoology reshapes images sometimes to fit them into image spaces, it really doesn't affect or cut them off on the left and the right-hand side. But I don't want to get anything too close to the top or the bottom, because the way it does display them, it'll cut those areas off at times. And I'll show you that when we go back over to Schoology. So I have this. I want to put an image that's chemistry related on the left-hand side here. So I'm going to go back over to my search, my Google Images search, and I'm going to type in chemistry, and I'm going to add the word transparent. And the reason I'm doing that is I have a colored background already, so the image that I put on here, I don't want it to have like a white surround around the image, or any other color, like this one has a black surround around the image. Now, every picture, when you search, even using transparent, doesn't mean you're going to get an image that's actually transparent. Most of them, and that's what it's trying to search for, will have transparent backgrounds. So I really like this one. Let's put it over there. You want to make sure not to have the background highlighted when you do that, or it'll replace that. Oh, it did it. I guess I'm going to try double clicking to see if it'll just insert it. Boom, boom. Yep. Okay, so you can see this one has a white background around it, and I don't want that, so I'm going to highlight it, delete it. I'm going to try a different one here. Let's go with this one. Now you can see there's no white background around the image. So I'm going to grab the edge and resize this. And then I'm going to use those red lines so that I know that it's centered. All right, now I have my little chemistry image and my title here that helps me identify this course. If I want to do these for all my courses at one time, I could just highlight the little slide thumbnail over here and go Command Copy, Command C, and then Command V for paste, and it would just duplicate the slide for me. So if I had 3 courses that I was teaching, I could put those all in here. And then all I'd need to do is, if I'm teaching, say, physics in another class, and then I could go to the third one, and biology. Just makes it a little quicker if you want to do them for all your classes at one time. And then depending on the length of the text, you might be able to make your text a little bit bigger, or highlight those and try to center them a little bit more. All I really care about from left to right is that my text and my image are kind of centered. And I want to make sure that I leave space up here at the top and the bottom so that when Schoology resizes this image some, it won't cut off anything that I want to be visible. So once I'm done with this, to save this slide as an image that I can use as a course card, I just go up to File and then Download as an image. And there are 2 types of images in here. JPEGs, if you're saving a slide as a JPEG image, you really want that slide to be mostly made up of a real photo. JPEG images, they deal with the broader spectrum of colors more effectively, where a PNG, especially if you have something that's really just text and a colored background and some of these cartoonish like graphics, a PNG image it'll have crisper edges on the font and the clip art type images. And so for this one that I did, I would save it as a PNG image. If my background was like a landscape photo or something like that, then I would save it as a JPEG. That downloaded to my desktop because I have my browser set to download to my desktop, but the default for your browsers is to download to your downloads folder. So you just need to know where did you save that image to, so when you go to upload it over in Schoology, that you know where to look for it. So let's go over to Schoology and do that. I've saved this image. I'd have to do that for each one of these images, or highlight all of the images before I did the download. I say do them individually. When you do multiple ones, it zips them into a zip folder, and it's just a little more complicated. But all right, so I'm over in Schoology. I'm here on my courses. I'm going to go into the course that I want to put my custom course card on. So I'm going to go into this advisor one. I know my card said chemistry, but we'll just do it for this course anyway. Once I'm inside the course, up here in the upper left-hand corner, this is actually the course card. And if you hover over it, you'll get something pop up that says Edit Picture. Click on that. There are some defaults here that you could use, but they don't have any text on them that would help identify your course if you're teaching multiple, course sections. So I'm going to click on the Attach File button, and then I need to look for either in my desktop, or I might have to go into my downloads folder. Um, but mine's on my desktop, so I'm looking here. There it is. I'm going to say open. And you'll see it shows up here when it uploads, and then it shows up over here as well. Once that happens, you can just close this box. Now you have your course picture here. You can see this text is pretty small, but you're already inside the course, so it doesn't matter that much. The key thing is out here in the course listing. So these are called course tiles versus course cards. And in the course tile, you can see how it's cut off the top and the bottom of this in the display area for the course card image. And so that's why I said you want to leave that space at the top and the bottom. You might have to try this a couple of times to get it to fit the way that you want. I know you can see some over here where it's cutting off the text on it and something like that. So once you've done it a couple of times, I just save a slide after I do this once and use that as a template for any time that I wanted to make another one. Here is the actual name of the course that's input into the system. That's actually generated from PowerSchool. And that's the title of the course that Jill didn't want you to change. And so I'm showing you the course card here because that gives you a way to customize the title and make that distinct in the course listing here. So that's all there is to it in terms of doing it with Google Slides. Again, you could take any picture. You could download any picture from Google Images. You might have a picture that you've taken on your computer. You could open those up. You just double click. I'd put them on my desktop, double click on them, and then you can use the annotation tool in Preview to type text on top of that image. That's probably the quickest way to do it. But most people know how to use Google Slides, and so this is a pretty quick way as well. And like I said, if you save one as a template, then when you do them, maybe you have some courses in another quarter, or when you need to do this again, it'd be easy for you to get going with that. The last way, I'm going to provide a link with this post about how you can do this in Canva as well. All of you have accounts in Canva. We have a district-wide license. You can log into Canva using your school Google account. And so I'll just show you how to get in there. But I'll link a video that if you want to know how to, in Canva, create a course card, that you can do that. They actually have specific templates for Schoology course cards. So I'm going over here to Canva in another tab. I'm not logged in, so I'm going to click on logged in. A lot of times if you haven't been logged in, something's going to come up, and I want to say continue with Google because I want to log in with my Google account. There are a couple of things that happen here. I've seen different things when I come here. Sometimes this happens. I just click log in. I pick log in with my Google account, my school Google account. I click on my school Google account. It has a couple of things you got to click through here. So, and then it brought me to this, sign into class link. Sometimes this doesn't happen. Or sometimes when you click on login, it comes right to here. Just click on sign in with Google again, and then you should be in. Once you're inside of Canva, just search for Schoology. And this will pop up. Otherwise, type the rest of it in. But you're looking for the Schoology course card. And this is going to provide you with a bunch of templates that you could use. It's really the same thing as doing it, creating it inside of Google Slides. These are, this just gives you a lot of template options where you can kind of go in easily and just change the text and then save the image. But once you get in there, click on the template you kind of like and then click customize this template. once you're in the template, you'll see it's kind of like Google Slides. If I slide over stuff here, different elements on the canvas highlight, and you can delete or change those or move them around. If you click on this one, I could change this then to chemistry. Again, you can grab the edges and resize it. There's a formatting toolbar at the top. There's things that you can insert on the left here. They've done a lot of that in creating the template. They're trying to make it easy for you. And then at the end, you just share that and download it so that you have an image to upload in Schoology again. Again, I will attach a tutorial that shows somebody walking through this process as well in Canva. I hope that helps and allows you to name and identify your courses so that both you and your students can more easily identify them in Schoology.